Hello friends, welcome back. In the previous video, we studied about the database search and journal search where I told you about how do you search for a paper and how do you filter the search, how do you make use of the advanced search option and all we have seen in the previous video. Now, we will try understanding how important is this literature review section in a paper and what are the different types of literature review that are available and how do I use some reference management tool. I'll tell you what is a reference management tool later. So this will be the um, part of this video. Let's begin with importance. So why do we need to do the literature review? So basically, see, in order to understand what are the type of problems that already the research scholars are already working with. What are the challenges they are facing? How are they solving it? In order to have a good understanding of this, literature survey helps very much. Right. As I mentioned, like how other people have solved similar problem, or is there already a solution to the problem that you are already solving it? If people have made an attempt to solve such a problem, then what are the gaps or challenges yet to be addressed? So this has another advantage is it will help us to avoid reinventing the wheel. That means no matter across the globe, people will be working with a similar idea, and whatever the idea you have got, the people have must have already published it, must have tried out it with it. It might have worked, it might have not worked. So this thorough literature review help you to understand whether are you in right direction? Are there any gaps? Can you fill that gap? So in order to have a good understanding of all these things, so literature review is very, very important. And also it also helps for checking the feasibility, whether whatever is the idea that you are proposing, whether it is doable. When I say doable feasibility, you can think from complexity perspective, you can think from the time perspective. Say suppose you are an undergraduate student and you want to um, do you are carrying out a project and you want to check out whether it is I'll be able to complete the project within 3 months or within one semester or whatever is the duration. So that also you can get an idea by doing a literature review. See, when you start searching for a papers, you might come across with two kinds of a papers. One is uh, a primary research. That means people must have experimented, people must have done some project, and the results are presented. The second one is called as secondary research. That means by doing this literature review, so your the kind of insights that you get out of that, that also you can present in the form of a paper. Right? There are different types of literature review. So it can be narrative, it can be systematic and meta, it can be historical, it can be scoping review, it can be conceptual synthesis review. There are many more types of a literature review. Say, narrative review is the most commonly used type of a review, where uh, the main aim will be on summarizing and synthesizing already existing literature on a particular topic. Right. So this will help you to understand what is the current, what are the key concepts that you should know, what are the theories behind it, and what methodologies have been adopted. On the other hand, you have some category called as systematic and meta review. So where you will have a set of procedures or steps to be followed. That we call it as Prisma method, which is very popularly known as. So Prisma method we have where it will help me to systematically arrive at a set of papers which will be helpful for my review. It includes inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria, and all those. There are steps. There are different steps, so which you will follow. But what is the aim of this is so to have a structured and methodical way of doing a literature review, and this will help you um, to do the meta-analysis. That means what if you want to understand like how people have tried out, what people have tried out, and if you want to write like overall, if you want to tell about it, if you want to generate some synthesize some literature over that, then systematic reviews would be quite helpful. Another important kind of a review is historical review. The historical review, it tells about more about the evolution of particular time, particular topic over the time. I mean to say like how people have changed the what all modifications have come in the theory. Say example, let me take an example. Like what was the first optimization algorithm that came into picture in the machine learning? How this optimization algorithm got improved over the time, and what are the things that they have considered, right? So it see, you can try understanding like what part of the methodology has remained constant. Nobody has changed that. What is consistent and what has changed over the time. So if your intention is that, then you can go for a historical review. Then scoping review is like it is like a abstract review, right? Which aims at mapping the existing literature and a broader topic area. So it's like a higher level. So maybe it will help you to understand whether what kind of review is required in a particular field. That is scoping review. Then comes the conceptual synthesis review. The conceptual synthesis review is like focusing more on the theoretical concepts, the frameworks, right, from the different sources, and then you try to create a kind of cohesiveness or come up with some new theoretical framework based on the existing theories and frameworks, right? However, they are not limited to only these types. There are many more types of a review. So you can decide what review to be carried on with respect to the project that you are doing, right? So how do you select it? The which review to do? It depends on the kind of project that you're doing, the kind of research question that you're trying to address, because each type of literature review has its own purpose, distinct purpose, and offer the kind of advantages that each of these reviews offer is unique. So it depends on the research goals and the nature of research question that you are trying to address. So, in case if you are a novice researcher and not able to decide, maybe your supervisor is the one who is the right person to help you to select which review is helpful, right? Maybe at master's level or PhD level, people prefer to do a systematic and meta review such that they have a thorough understanding of the entire field. So, having said this, we have so many papers that you will be reading across to complete your project. And please remember, literature review is not one-time job. Okay, you may have to do literature review at one time where you are trying to find a good challenge or a research gap. That is where one phase of literature review. Second phase, you will come back to these papers to look into these papers from the perspective of how people have implemented and what results have they got. So, and then positioning your paper. Several points you will be coming back and referring these papers. So, if you have like some 100 papers, how do you manage? How do you try remembering uh, what did I read in what paper? Which paper did I refer for this? Right. So you need some kind of help, right? So that is where we will be going on to this next part, which is called as use of reference management tool. Right. So far we have completed what is the importance of literature review, and then what are the different types of papers, different types of literature review. Then slowly we will move on to the reference management tool. So there are so many reference management tool. So what are the kind of advantages that you get as when you have some hundreds of papers, right? So and you want to say like you want to synthesize the literature. That means how do you actually read a paper, right? While you are reading, you find like something is interesting, something is the takeaway from the paper. So something which you find like you will be using it in your paper. What you usually do is you highlight it, right? Or if you are reading a textbook, maybe you have a habit of underlining it or highlighting it with a highlighter. So, but how do you take those things, right? So you may have to quote something, you may have to have a references, right? So in order to do all these tasks, right, I can go for a simple Excel sheet where I will try with putting all the data into it. And no matter it becomes clumsy, but it's inexpensive. But there are so many tools available, reference management tools like Citavi, Zotero, Mentally, RefWorks, BibMe, EndNote, and RefDB. I have been using Citavi and Zotero I have started recently. Citavi I found it very helpful, right? Say I open that Citavi, I'll be using Citavi 6.0, and when I open it, I can import all those papers. The advantage is it will pull all the references, okay, and I have a Word plugin also. When I do it in a Microsoft Word, so what I can do is I can open it. I can open that once you install that plugin, you will have on the Word tool, Word file, you will have that um, plugin point. So when you open that and you can pull all the things that you have highlighted, all the things that you have summarized, whatever in the paper, along with the references, you can pull it directly. So it will be quite handy tool. So I expect you to explore these tools. But on the other hand, what I have prepared is I will show you the one Excel sheet that I have prepared that might help you. Just give me a second. So you can just simply use such kind of a template, and which you can customize according to your requirements. What I generally use is I put a title and I put whether it is a conference or a journal and year of publication and what are the key points. Say while I'm reading, so I get to know like some idea I get or some takeaway from the paper I get. So I put it here. I have some definitions. I have some definitions to be put, and then I have the BibTeX file or the reference. So I will have to give a list of references that I have used at the last of the paper. So I'll have to compile all the references that I have used. So if I go on putting the references here, I will make another column and add it as reference. Okay, so together I can pull all these references and put it at my last section that becomes my reference section. So you can either use the Microsoft Excel or if you're accessible, some of the reference management tools are free and some of them are paid versions. You can decide upon which one that you will be able to use it. So, wishing you happy learning and start with your literature review. Please talk to your supervisor to decide upon what kind of a review that you are supposed to do. And see you in the next video with few more important things that you have to consider for writing a technical paper. See you in the next video. Thank you.